What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I just got a couple quick updates for you guys. Just a couple more signings that the Dolphins made. They have re-signed backup offensive tackle Adam Pankey. So, that's one of their answers to the offensive line is to sign Adam Pankey, who he's got some intrigue, some upside, and he's still a relatively young guy. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, we're gonna have to see how the entire offensive line goes. They have a lot of work to do. They have to be a lot better than they were last year for sure. But anyway, and then there is one other signing. The Dolphins signed former Bills and Washington football team wide receiver Robert Foster. Barry Jackson notes Dolphins receiver Robert Foster had 32 career catches for 642 yards, a whopping 20.1 average and 3 touchdowns, has started 7 games, appeared in 23 others over 3 seasons for Bills in Washington. So, yeah, it's cool he's got a 20.1 average, but he's got 32 career catches in 3 years. And I mean, so this is, apparently one of their answers or an answer for the wide receiver position. So again, I mean, a lot of people are going to look at these signings in different ways, but to me, all of the signings that the Dolphins have done have been these little fucking, some of them don't even really make sense as far as I'm concerned. They didn't need to get rid of Hawk and sign the new punter. But it turns out that he's actually the new punter, Pallardy, or however you say his name, is likely cheaper than Hawk. So there is that, right? So cap savings or whatever. But then the tight end, Sithan, whatever his name is, Sithan Carter, I think his name is, who's probably primarily going to be a special teamer. Like, okay, But then pretty much everything else, right? They've been quiet. They've just been doing like little signings, nothing huge. But they have like almost no cap space now at this point, because especially with these other couple signings, they are down to like 20 million or less, even maybe even a little less than that at this point. So they are unquestionably going to have to do some things, right? Some cap saving things, whether that be, trade some players, cut some players, or restructure contracts, which, they could obviously do any of those things, all of those things. And they will likely to do at least some of those things, right? So, we will have to wait and see how that plays out. But as you guys know, I believe that these small little fucking, baby signings are an indication that what they're really doing is they're loading themselves up for that big one. And the one big one is going to be Deshaun Watson. I don't know, though. I mean, that's what I think. But obviously there's, lots of other things. I mean, there was reports out that, all of a sudden Deshaun Watson doesn't want to go to the Jets or to the Dolphins, but he really wants to go to Denver or the 49ers, right? So, like, obviously there's always going to be, rumors and reports, and we're still, a ways away from the draft. I mean, we still have over a month before the draft, so they could play this back and forth and, right up until then if they wanted to. I don't think it's going to... I honestly don't think it's going to play out that long. I think we'll probably know a bit sooner than later. Frankly, I mean, I don't want them to do it. So, to that end... it would take until free agency's over and frankly, probably even up until the first wave of free agency would have to end and the draft for sure would have to end before we could say anywhere close to definitive that the Dolphins did not, engage in being big spenders and did not go after Deshaun Watson. So, we'll have to wait till then. Or, we will know sooner than that if they do end up signing Deshaun Watson, or if he goes someplace else, right? If Deshaun Watson signs with another team, then we will know definitively before then as well, for one of those two reasons. So, But what I was gonna say is I just want to know, like, I want to know what's gonna happen, right? Like, I want that time to come and go, whether they do or don't sign him. But I do think that all of these moves that they have been making are an effort to, you know, fill the holes that they have, but do so in a, you know, frugal manner so as to be able to, you know, pool their remaining resources to get Deshaun Watson. And so real quick, I just want to add, I just read a little bit ago an article from Armando Salguero, and he said some things in there, but the one thing that I wanted to mention, or he obviously said some things. He said a bunch of things. He talked about a few things, you know, and some of it I liked, but it was centered around, you know, the Deshaun Watson conversation. And one thing that he mentioned that's important is the Dolphins are going to need probably, I can't remember the exact number, but it was something between 10 to 15 million to be able to bring in Deshaun Watson, whatever team in immediate cap space for the 2021 season. Right, that's how much they would have to be able to bring in Deshaun Watson under his current contract, right? Because that's the cap hit that would be required. But that means they would have to have an additional like 15 million on top of that to be able to sign their rookie class, etc. So in total, they would need about 30 million roughly to be able to do both. As it stands right now, they probably have about half that, so they're going to have to do some ample or substantial rather cap clearing to be able to get up to that number again, where they would be able to, it wouldn't even be comfortable. You can't say it's comfortable because they would have like literally like almost no money left. Like they just wouldn't like have almost any money left at all. But they would be able to fit him in under the cap. It would just be super fucking tight. Yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to throw that in there because that's about how much it would cost, and so that's about where the Dolphins would have to get back up to be able to do that. Yeah, and then just real quick, one other thing too. There was a tweet by Albert Breer that was like, let's see, okay, this is what he said. Dolphins are tighter to the cap than people realize. They've built responsibly, but don't have near the room they did last year. And I quote tweeted him because, I mean, it's just a stupid thing to say. I'm sorry, it just is, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. How are you going to say at the same time that the Dolphins are tighter to the cap than people realize, but they've built responsibly? Before last offseason, okay, before they did their big free agent spending spree, the Dolphins had over $215 million in cap space, okay? By the end of the season, they only had about 14 million in cap space carryover. Okay, they blew over $200 million. Okay, there was over 150 or like 160 actually, I think it was, in guaranteed money that they gave out, right? They gave out so much fucking money, it was absurd. Now, you know, the cap was, they were projected to have over 85 million going into this season, even with the fact that they ended with 14 carryover. Now that would have been carried over if the cap were to have gone up like it should have. The Dolphins probably would have had more closer to, you know, 85 million with the bump up in cap space and then the carryover, etc., right? So they would have been expected to have closer to that. But because the cap went down overall, and, you know, some other factors I'm sure too, or whatever, it's a complicated thing. But because of stuff like that, those factors, the Dolphins only ended up starting this offseason with about 25 million in cap space. Then they released Kyle Van Noy, that pushed them up to about 37 million, right? And then they started making their moves. They signed the punter, they traded for Benardrick McKinney and Isaiah Wilson, right? And then they signed, you know, Malcolm Brown and the corner they just signed, and this wide receiver and the tight end, right? So like I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Like, it's, first of all, to finish that thought, it was a ridiculous statement. They haven't built responsibly, not at all. And the fact that they've already cleared out half of the free agent class from last offseason is proof of that, right? They've already admit that they were stupid contracts that they shouldn't have done to begin with because they got rid of those guys, right? And they're doing it because they have to clear cap space because their cap situation is shit. It is not good. It is misleading to simply say that the Dolphins are in the top 8 of available cap space. That is true, but that is leaving out very, very important context because they had $217 million before last offseason. To only come out of that at the end of the season with only $14 million in carryover, that's only about that you only have then only about enough to cover a single year's rookie class at that point, right? You need about $15 million to cover your rookie class. That's all they had in carryover space. And then because obviously of, you know, cap going down, etc., it exacerbated the situation and they only came in with $25 million. It's not actually that fucking good, right? And then even though they've already cut a couple, you know, those guys or whatever, Kyle Van Noy being the biggest one so far, you know, they're still strapped. But anyway, so, you know, and we did talk, obviously they're going to have to make more moves. We're going to see there are some, you know, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention too, that corner that they just signed, it would seem that he's going to be doing some more competing for the slot position, the slot corner with Nick Needham and someone else I can't remember off the top of my head, as opposed to boundary. But we still have 2 of the highest paid corners on the in the league on the roster. One of them wants a fucking contract renegotiation, and they need to clear cap space. So there is still possibilities that one of them could be gone. But there's without question they're going to be making moves to clear out more cap space in the near future. So it will be interesting to see what decisions they make and how they decide exactly to go about doing that. And then, of course, it'll be interesting to see what they do after that. If they just end up clearing some cap space and then just leaving it there, they do the, you know, small signings in free agency, which is the way to go. That's how you should do it, and then focus on the draft. Or if all of these small signings just preclude the big event, which ends up being the Deshaun Watson signing. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. That's what I got for you. I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And, of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.